Welcome back to Vox in a Box, the podcast that puts a voice in comics. I'm your host, Michael Corley. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we are covering Classic X-Men, number 76. In the 76th episode of Vox in a Box, it is titled Altercations. We open in Tokyo, Japan. The X-Men have come to join Wolverine as he marries his longtime love. But the X-Men have a surprise for Wolverine, because with them is Rogue. Rogue, former member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, who stole Carol Danvers' powers and memories permanently, giving her super strength, super flight, and near invulnerability. Wolverine says that if he could, he'd cut her heart out. But he's willing to let it go by because it's his wedding and because the other X-Men said that she's trying to change. We cut to outside the building. A samurai, a man dressed in a silver samurai garb holding a sword, is waiting. He's thinking to himself in Japanese that the X-Men will be easy targets if he strikes tonight. But he himself is being watched by a young Japanese woman. She's dressed all in black and has small blades in her fingers. Her name is Yukio. If you read the Wolverine 4-part miniseries, which is fantastic and which is reputed to be the main subject line of the next Wolverine movie, then you would know that this is one of the competitors for Wolverine's heart. She leaps into the air and kicks Silver Samurai in the back of the head. She thinks to herself she could easily have killed him with a blow, but she wants him alive for questioning. The Silver Samurai turns to the woman and says, "I am the Silver Samurai. To attack me is death." As you may have heard, the Silver Samurai is able to channel energy into any weapon, making it basically kind of like a lightsaber. And he is going to kill Yukio for daring to strike him. Wolverine hears the blow, even though it's from a building across the way with his enhanced senses. He tells Nightcrawler to teleport him over to the other building. Coming up in the air, he dives down, his claws extended to attack the Silver Samurai. They have been enemies for some time. He attacks him, but the Silver Samurai teleports away, and leaving Wolverine balanced over the edge of the building, he falls. He's going to fall to his death. But Nightcrawler instantly teleports down, grabs Wolverine, teleports again, and lets go of him near the ground. Now, the fall is still painful. As we have heard before, every time Nightcrawler teleports, he must conserve the motion. So Wolverine is still falling, but he has not yet reached terminal velocity, and while it is not pleasant, it also does not splatter him. Nightcrawler asks about the young woman who was also there, and Wolverine explains, as we said, that her name is Yukio and that she considers herself a Ronin, a wandering samurai. We cut to Yukio, and she is leaping from building to building. She's obviously enjoying this immensely, having so much fun. But as her foot comes down on one of the roofs, there is something slippery. She slips, she falls, she's falling stories. She is going to die. When a figure swoops in, it is Storm. Storm, who has been out on patrol looking out for trouble after the sudden exit of Nightcrawler and Wolverine, saw this woman fall and sweeps up and catches her. Yukio is grateful, but is not scared at all. She said it was fun. It was an adventure. And Storm is saying, are you crazy? You nearly died. And Yukio is like, oh, that's what makes it so exquisite. This is fun. You should have fun with your life. And Storm is touched. There's something about the energy of this woman that is struck a chord. Remember that Storm has been really struggling with her inner core. Her powers have not yet reconnected fully with the earth. She cannot control them. She feels unstable, and this chaotic energy from Yukio is entrancing to her. The X-Men are reconnecting to confer on what's going on, and Wolverine is explaining that Mariko's father was a crime boss, essentially, using the power of the clan that he ruled to rule much of Japan's underworld, and that the Silver Samurai and a woman known as Viper were a part of it. Kitty and Peter are asking, well, why don't we just stop this guy if we know that he's a crime lord? And Nightcrawler is having to explain to them, I don't think we have to worry about Mariko's father anymore. And they realize that Wolverine has killed him. And this is indeed what has happened in the 4-part miniseries. And Wolverine is saddened in his thoughts that he really likes Kitty Pryde and he enjoys her youth and innocence. And it saddens him that she gets to see this dark side of him, that he is a murderer, he is an assassin, and that he does kill people. We cut to Mariko. Mariko is trying to put things right that her father has done, the breadth of his crime organization. She's trying to take control and make things good again. She is reading a letter to go and confer with the Silver Samurai and the Viper and try to bring an end to the insanity and the murder and the death that is the result of her father's reign. But inside the complex where Mariko's family lived, we see a young serving woman, and she is knocked unconscious by a green-clad woman, a woman with a long black hair covering one eye. This is the woman, sort of a super spy. If you saw the Avengers movie, think Black Widow, but a bad guy. Her name is Viper, and she is coming up to the tea. We cut back to the X-Men, and they are all handing out this tea, which I'm sure is perfectly safe. Wolverine and Storm are catching up, and Wolverine looks at her and says, "You're different, Ororo." And Storm answers, "So are you, my friend." Both of them have been changed recently. Wolverine having to take on more responsibility than he ever has before, and Storm having to embrace her wilder side. Wolverine suddenly realizes something is wrong. The tea is poisoned. He calls out. As he passes out, all of the X-Men are passing out. Only Storm, by Wolverine's quick action, his healing factor allowing him to stay conscious just long enough to grab her cup. Storm does not ingest the poisoned tea. All of the other X-Men are knocked unconscious. We now see Mariko going to that meeting with the Silver Samurai and Viper. But her driver looks very familiar, looks almost like a young woman we met earlier named Yuriko. Quick cut back to Anchorage, Alaska, to the airport. We see Scott Summers. He's doing research. He's looking up records of crashes. This is something you think would be really important to him, as he and his brother were both in a terrible air accident when they were children. But no, he's looking at something more recent. It's this woman, Madeline Pryor. She has the exact same voice, the exact same face, the exact same everything of Jean Grey. She has the exact same everything of Jean Grey. And as he's looking at the accident reports, he sees that the terrible crash that she was in, that only she survived, happened at the exact same day, at the exact same time that Jean Grey died. Back to Tokyo, in a lonely waterfront, we see a meeting between Mariko, Viper, and the Silver Samurai. An old man named Nabatone Yakuse, I'm sure I said that wrong, has come to be an arbiter between the disagreement and to see how Mariko's father's legacy will be fulfilled between these three people. We find out that the Silver Samurai is Mariko's half-brother, and that he wants to rule the clan as the only male heir. She says that he is a criminal, just like his father, and that his claim to the heritage is forfeit. The Silver Samurai says that he will kill her for saying such things. And Mariko asks the old man, "I thought I was allowed safe conduct at this meeting." And the old man smiles and says, "I promised that to Lady Mariko. You are not she." And they realize that this is not Mariko. This is, in fact, Yuriko. She has impersonated Mariko to come to the meeting. She throws out her little daggers. Silver Samurai is able to dodge one. Le Viper is going to kill Mariko, going to find her and kill her, while the Silver Samurai is going to kill Yuriko. Viper goes out to the car to take out Mariko when a sudden fog comes in. I wonder what could create a fog out of nowhere. Can you imagine? As she opens the door, she sees a woman in the back seat, but it is not Mariko. She is blown back by a sudden gust of wind, slammed into a wall. Of course, this is none other than Storm. Storm is talking to the real Mariko, telling her to get to safety. In her mind, Storm is horrified. She meant only to blow Viper away with a gust of wind sufficient to knock her to the ground. The blow that she did was enough to kill her. Viper is unconscious, but she could easily have been dead. She's only able barely to fly, Storm. As she comes in to try and help Yuriko, she sees that she's facing off with the Silver Samurai with only her little blades against this armored man. She knows that Yuriko, no matter how powerful she is no match for an armored man with a glowing sword. Even though she doesn't want to, she tries to help by firing lightning. But the lightning goes out of control. There's too much power. She is electrocuting the Silver Samurai to death. She's going to kill him. The only way to stop it is to draw the electricity back into herself. And as we've seen in the past, such as with her battles with Magneto, she is not invulnerable from her own electricity. She begins to burn. Yuriko, acting in an instant, leaps up onto some crates, grabs off her coat, leaps up to Storm, who's hanging in midair, burning, and she grabs her, pushes her out the window towards the water when the whole warehouse explodes from the stray lightning bolts. Diving into the water, Storm is able to survive thanks to Yuriko's help. She looks up and sees the Phoenix. It's there. It's not sort of, kind of. She sees the flame of the Phoenix effect up in the air when the shelter is blowing up. What could be causing this? In the distance, the old man who had promised safe conduct is smiling. We see that the Silver Samurai has also survived, though injured by Storm's lightning. He finds Viper, his partner, injured badly. He pulls her out of the water and says that after he finishes his half-sister, it will be Yuriko's turn. We cut to the hospital, where all of the X-Men are recovering. Remember, they all drank poisoned tea and were all terribly injured. Wolverine, however, with his healing factor, has already recovered. Mariko is asking him not to go, but he says that he must go and stop Silver Samurai before he does this again. There's only one other person well enough to accompany him. That is Rogue. Now, Wolverine doesn't trust Rogue. He hates Rogue at this point. But she says she's willing to come with him, willing to help, and wants the chance to prove to him that she's really changed. And Wolverine says, "Very well, but you follow my step, youngster, every flamin' step of the way." And that ends Classic X-Men number 76. Are you ready for a team up with Wolverine and Rogue, their first ever in the next episode? Tune in and you will find just that. Thank you so much for listening, and you have a wonderful day.